where head attaches to the arm, where the head is attaching to the arm. So this is the head, it is attaching to the arm. So here, so this is important. Here we have 1 inch, and also here we have 1 inch. So these are the inches which are present, and the hinged arms allow the head to extend far outward from the body of the myosin filament or brought close to the body. So the hinged heads in turn participate in the actual contraction process. So remember that only the hinged heads can participate properly in an actual correct contraction process. So the total length of each myosin is uniform and almost it's of 1.6 millimeter, and there are no cross bridge heads in the center of myosin. So you can see exactly in the center there are no cross bridges, right? Filament for distance of about 0.2 millimeters because hinged arms extend away from the center. Yeah, of course. So now the myosin twisted so that the successive pair of cross bridges is actually displaced from previous pair. By this twisting, it ensures the cross bridges extend in all directions around the filament. So the ATP activity of myosin head, that is myosin head has ATPase enzyme which allows the head to cleave the ATP. So here head have some binding site to ATP. So here it also has ATPase enzyme which allow the head to cleave the ATP and use this energy from the ATPase phosphate bond in contraction. So the actin filaments are mainly composed of actin. Now we'll see about the actin. So this is an actin. So right, actin filaments are mainly composed of actin, tropomyosin, troponin, right? You can see all those names, right? Tropomyosin, troponin, and the backbone of actin is double-stranded F-actin. So you can see this, that's the main backbone of an actin is double-stranded F-actin protein molecules which are represented by two light-colored strands. So you can see this two light-colored strands. These are pink, dark pink. This light one you can see these are the two F-actin molecules which are light color strand which form the backbone of the actin. And also we have mainly other components like you can see tropomyosin, troponin, right? So this is a troponin complex, and this dark colored one is a tropomyosin. So this is what we need to understand. And the two strands are wound in helix in same manner as myosin molecule, right? So each strand of double F actin helix have polymerized is having the polymerized G actin molecules which is of having molecular weight. So this is important. So G actin molecule polymerize and they form the F actin, and now this F actins, now you can here see these are the light chains which are rolling like this. So that nothing but they are saying that this F actin is in turn that is nothing but made up of G actin polymerized form. So that is the main point we need to understand over here. And this G actin molecular weight is 42,000, and this is also associated with another G actin molecule is by one molecule of ADP that which activates for on action with the cross bridge which so once again we'll check out this. G actin itself is forming F actin, and this G actin is associated with one more G actin, and this one molecule of ADP is also attached to it, that is mainly ADP in the active site on actin. ADP is present on an active site on actin with which the cross bridge of myosin interact. This causes contraction. This is important. Uh, you know Active sites, we are seeing this small black dots. These are the active sites. So what they are saying is this G actin molecule is also associated with this active site. Here the ADP binds. So this active site on actin with which the cross bridge of myosin interact. So here the to this active sites only or myosin interacts, as we are saying till now that myosin head is interacting with actin. Where it interacts now, this myosin head attached to the active side on the act, active side on an actin filament. So this is important point to understand. So next, the active sites on two effectin strands of double helix so active sites on two effectin strands of double helix are staggered, giving one active site on overall active actin filament about every 2.7 nanometers. So for every, this is very important, so for every 2.7 nanometers we have one active site. This is important, means they are not immediately adjacent, just for every 2.7 nanometers there are active sites present on actin. And each actin filament is 1 μm long, and this actin bases are inserted strongly to Z disc, yeah, just now we discussed, and the ends of filaments protrude in broad direction to lie in the spaces between the myosin molecules, And next we will see some detail of tropomyosin over here. Tropomyosin in actin, yeah, you can see tropomyosin is present in actin, and they are wrapped spirally around the sides of effectin. Of course, effectin sites, you can see the dark one is a tropomyosin. So we are in a tropomyosin. So in resting state, what happens is that tropomyosin mainly lie in the top of active site of actin. So you can see normally it is now in active state, so it is not lying on a top of it. But normally in resting state, this tropomyosin lie in the top of the active site of actin. So the attraction is not able to occur between now the actin and myosin to cause the contraction. So this is nothing but, so if the tropomyosin moves on the active site, it stops the contraction. That's it. Now we'll see about troponin. So troponin is attached to the sides of tropomyosin. So you can see this is a tropomyosin, right? This thick one. To the sides you can see this is a troponin complex. So this troponin is a complex of mainly 3 loose protein subunits. You can see them, 3 of them. The role is mainly in control of contraction, which is important. So it is divided into troponin I, troponin T, troponin C, 3 types. So troponin I is mainly having strong affinity for actin, and the troponin T is for mainly tropomyosin, T for tropomyosin, and another C is for calcium ions. This is attachment of tropomyosin with calcium ions is useful to attach the tropomyosin to actin and initiate the process of contraction. And now let us see the interaction of one myosin with two actin. This is important. Interaction of one myosin with a two actin, one actin, two actin, you can see two actin filaments. So always remember, interaction of one myosin with two actin along with attachment with calcium leads to contraction process. So we require two actin, one myosin and calcium to undergo the process of contraction in the case of skeletal muscle. So inhibition of actin by troponin and tropomyosin complex. Actually this troponin tropomyosin bind together and they form a complex. So it is inhibited when these active sites are closed or masked by this troponin and tropomyosin complex. So the pure actin actually don't have this troponin tropomyosin complex with and instead it is attached with magnesium and ATP and bind instantly and strongly with the head of the myosin so that the contraction can take place. So the activation of actin is mainly done by calcium. So in the presence of calcium, the inhibiting effect of troponin tropomyosin is decreased. So that's what we are saying, how now we are going to link the calcium utility in the case of actin is, in the presence of calcium the troponin and tropomyosin complex is decreased, so that now the activation is possible. So the active sites are now exposed outside. So the calcium now attached to the troponin C mainly and bind with the 4 calcium. So this troponin now undergoes the conformational change and moves the troponin and tropomyosin complex between the two actin into the groove. So between these two actins a groove like structure forms, and this complex now hides for some time there when the active sites are exposed outside. So this allows the active sites to bind the myosin by cross bridge heads. So this facilitates the contraction, hence contraction purely cross-bridge. Now the activated actin along with the myosin cross-bridge, this is called as walk-along theory of contraction, or also called as racket theory. Racket theory, tennis rackets we have. This is called as racket theory because here this myosin slides and moves this actin slowly and finally it brings to the center so that the sarcomere is now contracted, it is getting shortened. So that's why this is also called as racket theory. So you can see here the new forces cause head to tilt forward and drag the actin along with it. So this tilt of head is called power stroke. And later the head break away from the active side and next it binds to the another active side. So for example, you can see this first binds to this, it moves like this, and next it binds to other active side like this. So this is a process which is going on. So each bridge works independent from others, means it uses its own energy, it work as an independent unit, and repeated cycles go on, so that the cross bridge, whenever there is higher amount of cross bridge when you see in an actin myosin, means you can understand it is having higher amount of contraction. So the ATP for myosin head movement, ATP is required for myosin head movement, and Fern effect is nothing but increase in the use of ATP. More ATP is required if there is more work or more contraction going on. That's what Fern has said to us. And next, now we'll see the steps of contraction. That is the molecular. We'll conclude it. Once again, we'll revise the process. how everything is related with our molecular process. So you can see this diagram here, hinges are here, active sites, as I said, they are moving like this, power strokes are forming, and this is a myosin filament. So finally we'll conclude by understanding our theory part. So you can see here the first process is before contraction. What happens, the head of crossbreed is attached with the ATP, and the ATP's activity is present in the head of myosin. So the ADP, and it is broken down into ADP and phosphate, and now the head is extended and perpendicular to the actin. So the second troponin tropomyosin complex is now attached with the calcium, so it activates and it is uncovered. The activated site is now uncovered, and the head of myosin now can easily bind to the active site of the actin. So the head binds with the active site of actin by cross bridges. So now head tilt toward the arm of cross bridge, and it provides us power stroke for pulling action. So this is what you can see, the power stroke action. And after the head detach, new molecule of ATP cleave to begin, and the next cycle leads to proper new stroke. So always remember, not only for attachment, not only to form a bond, to contraction, even to remove the uh, head from this one active site to the other, we need ATP. So even to remove the head we need a ATP, and it with the new active site of actin, and it becomes a uncogged, and once again provides new power stroke. Actually what happens is, this released ATP now it is stored in the form of energy, and whenever it is required, again it is used. So the process proceeds again and again until the actin filaments pull the Z membrane against the ends of the myosin filaments, or until the load on muscle becomes too great for further pulling to occur. So when the load is very high, then it can't move further. So this is the molecular basis of our muscle contraction, especially our skeletal muscle contraction.